Bhagavad-gita, chapter 2, verse 52. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayam Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivrajagacharya Stotara Sata Sri Srimad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Premsika Ho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Mathura Dham Ki Jai Navadvip Mayapur Dham Ki Jai Jamuna Mai Ki Jai Ganga Mai Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Tulsi Devi Ki Jai Samaveta Bhakta Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Bhagavad-gita, chapter 2, verse 52. Yadate moha kalilam buddhir vyati tarishyati tada gantasi nirvedam shrota vyasya shrutasya cha Yadate moha kalilam buddhir vyati tarishyati tada gantasi nirvedam shrota vyasya shrutasya cha Yadate moha kalilam buddhir vyati tarishyati tada gantasi nirvedam shrotavyasya shrutasya cha Yada when te your moha illusory kalilam dense forest buddhi transcendental service with intelligence Vyati tarishyati surpasses. Tada, at that time, gantasi, you shall go. Nirvedam, callousness. Shrotavyasya, all that is to be heard. Shrutasya, all that is already heard. Cha, also. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. When your intelligence has passed out of the dense forest of delusion, you shall become indifferent to all that has been heard and all that is to be heard. Purport. There are many good examples in the lives of the great devotees of the Lord, of those who became indifferent to the rituals of the Vedas simply by devotional service to the Lord. When a person factually understands Krishna and his relationship with Krishna, he naturally becomes completely indifferent to the rituals of fruitive activities, even though an experienced Brahmana. Sri Madhavendra Puri, a great devotee and acharya in the line of the devotees, says, Shandhya Vadana Bhadramastu Bhavato Bho Nata Tubhyam Namo Bho Deva Pitarascha Tarpana Vido Naham Shamaha Shamyatam Yatra Kwapi Nishadhyaya Yadava Kulottamasya Kamsadvishaha Smaram Agam Kara Arami Tadaham Manye Kim Anyename. O Lord, in my prayers 3 times a day, all glories to you. Bathing, I offer my obeisances unto you. O demigods, O forefathers, please excuse me for my inability to offer you my respects. Now, wherever I sit, I can remember the great descendant of the Yadu dynasty, Krishna, the enemy of Kamsa, and thereby I can free myself from all sinful bondage. I think this is sufficient for me. The Vedic rites and rituals are imperative for the neophytes. Comprehending all kinds of prayers 3 times a day, taking a bath early in the morning, offering respects to the forefathers, etc. But when one is fully in Krishna consciousness and is engaged in his transcendental loving service, one becomes indifferent to all these regulative principles because he has already attained perfection. If one can reach the platform of understanding by service to the Supreme Lord Krishna, he has no longer to execute different types of penances and sacrifices recommended in the revealed scriptures. And similarly, if one has not understood that the purpose of the Vedas is to reach Krishna and simply engages in the rituals, etc., then he is uselessly wasting time in such engagements. Persons in Krishna consciousness transcends the limit of Shabda Brahma, or the range of the Vedas and the Upanishads. Yada te moha kalilam buddhir vyata tarishyati tadagantasi nirvedam shrota vyasya shutasya cha. Hare Krishna. So in this purport, Prabhupada is quoting a great devotee of Krishna called Madhavendra Puri. Madhavendra Puri appeared before Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He was the guru of Mahaprabhu's guru. Madhavendra Puri's disciple was Ishvara Puri, and Lord Krishna, in the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, teaching by example, he took Ishvara Puri as his guru. So this Madhavendra Puri is a manifestation in the material world of the kalpa vriksha, of the desire trees in the spiritual world in Vrindavan. Everything in Vrindavan is personal, everything in Vrindavan is conscious, everything in Vrindavan is perfect. It is the exact opposite of what we see in the material world. In the material world, everything is limited or imperfect. everything is temporary, and everything is subject to illusion. That is not the fact in the spiritual world. The reason for this is that the material world and the spiritual world are like a reflection. There is a tree on the bank of a reservoir of water, and on the surface of the water, the tree is reflected upside down. This is also explained by Krishna in the 15th chapter of the Bhagavad-gita. Urdhva Moolam, the Moolam, or the roots of the tree, Urdhva, they go up. Adaha Shakam, the Shaka, or the branches, Adaha, they go down. So Urdhva Moolam, Adaha Shakam, Ashwatam Praur Avyayam. This tree is, this Ashwata tree, or banyan tree, it is avyayam, it is unlimited, it keeps growing, it keeps moving. Chandasya yasya parnani, the leaves of the tree, parnani, yasnam veda savedavit, or the Vedic hymns. And one who knows this tree knows the nature of reality. I have seen in India many banyan trees. When I was living on a farm in Hyderabad, when a cow would die, naturally, we would call the chamris from the village, or the people who would deal with skin and leather. And they would take the dead cow, they would skin it, and of course from the skin they would make sandals, they would make halters for the bulls to pull the bullock cart, they would make leather for making drums and mridanga. But what they would do with the carcass, they would dig a hole and put the carcass of the cow, and then they would take a branch from the banyan tree, just break it off, and they would put it down on top in the ground, and from this branch a banyan tree would grow. And if you see a banyan tree, it is expanded in many, many branches, and from the branches shoots come down, and again different parts of the tree grow, so the tree is always expanding. So this is a material world. It is an upside down tree. So the trees in the spiritual world are called kalpavriksha. They are conscious. They serve Krishna by their love and affection. They serve Krishna in a mode of servants. They offer Krishna flowers. They offer Krishna fruits. They offer Krishna shade. And in this way, they are perfect devotees, as good as any other devotee, but in the mood of dasya, of servitorship. So the personification of these spiritual trees appeared on this planet as Madhavendra Puri. And he was living in Vrindavan, all on his own, living in the forest, sitting under the tree and chanting and meditating on Krishna. And one day, as he was meditating, a cowherd boy came up to him. Very beautiful young boy, very young, very, very attractive, with a pot of milk. And he said, Sadhu, I'm coming from a nearby village, and in my village nobody fasts. I see that you're not eating, you're sitting here, so I have brought you some milk. So the boy gave the milk, Madhavendra Puri drank it, and then he began to chant again, and he began to sleep, and in his sleep he dreamt, he understood that this boy was Krishna. So he woke up from his dream and he began to cry. And he took the pot and he broke it into little pieces, and every day he would eat a piece of this pot. Anyhow, while he was meditating and chanting in Vrindavan, Lord Krishna appeared in one of his dreams. And he said, My dear Madhavendra Puri, I have been watching you doing your sadhana, doing your devotional service, and I'm very pleased with your attitude. I'm very pleased with your loving affection towards me. Love is very powerful, very attractive. So devotional service or bhakti, which is the means to unchain our love, which is imprisoned by the material energy, these chains are broken by the process of hearing and chanting the glories of Krishna, and our natural innate love for Krishna becomes manifest. So Madhavendra Puri was on that platform. His love was blossoming, and Krishna becomes very, very attracted to the devotees who love him purely. So Krishna in his dream said, I've been watching you for many, many days. I am sitting in the bushes here, and I am suffering from the rain, from the heat, from the cold, and I've been here for many, many years. You please take me from there and please put me in my temple. So Madhavendra Puri woke up and he realized the great blessing that Krishna had bestowed upon him in his dream. So he called the villagers and he said, in this jungle thicket there is a deity, Krishna is there, let us get him. So the villagers cut away all the jungle and they found the beautiful deity of Gopal. So Madhavendra Puri took this deity and he put it on top of Govardhan hill. He put a stone on the ground and a stone behind, and he put the deity there. And all the villagers came from all around Braj, and they brought milk and ghee and clothing and flowers and so many things, and they began to worship the deity. So Gopal became manifested on top of Govardhan hill. By the way, that same Gopal is now in Gujarat, on the border of Gujarat and Rajasthan. There is a place called Nathadwara. So at Nathadwara, this Gopal is there. How you went from Govardhan to Nathadwara, that's another story. But to get back to Madhavendra Puri, this Madhavendra Puri, who came from the spiritual world, and he was blessed by Gopal, and he began to worship the deity on Govardhan hill, on top of the hill. And after some days, again the deity came in his dreams and said, my dear Madhavendra Puri, I'm very hot. From all these years that I've been in the jungle, and I'm still feeling my heat is still within my body, it has not subsided. I need some sandalwood and some camphor. You make a mixture of sandalwood and camphor, and then you put it on my body. It's called chandan. In fact, in May, in summer, there is a festival called Chandan Yatra. All the temples of Krishna, they put chandan over the body of Krishna to cool him down because of the heat of the rainy season, of the hot season. So Madhavendra Puri got the order from Gopal to bring him sandalwood and camphor. At that time, sandalwood was very, very difficult to get. But he knew that in Jagannath Puri, the king was a Vaishnava and he could get sandalwood there. So immediately he set off on foot all the way from Vrindavan, and he walked all the way down through Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Bengal, all the way down following the route of the Ganga, and he came into Utkal, Orissa, and eventually he came to Puri. And when he came to Puri, before he came to Puri, he stopped at a place called Remuna. Remuna is 2 stops before you arrive in Puri. It's a small village with a very beautiful pond, and on the shore of this pond there is a beautiful temple of Gopinath. So this Gopinath is a very famous deity in Orissa, and he is famous because the servitors of Gopinath, the pujaris, they keep a small goshala, a small herd of cows, beautiful white Surabhi cows, and from that milk they cook it with cane sugar, sugar cane juice, and they make this very, very delicious kheer, or sweet rice, which they offer to the deity. So while Madhavendra Puri was there, he saw that they were offering this kheer, and he thought, oh, I should like to taste that kheer so I can offer it to my Gopal in Vrindavan. But then he thought, what am I thinking? I wanted to taste the kheer before it is eaten by Krishna. It is actually an offense, an aparad. And he became very despondent, and he walked away, and he went into the market, and he sat under the tree, and he began to chant. Meanwhile, the offering was over, the arati was over, the temple pujari closed the curtains and deities, and he went to sleep. And in his dream, Gopinath came and he said, my dear Sevite, my dear servitor, my dear pujari, I have hidden one pot of kheer for my devotee, Madhavendra Puri. He is in the marketplace. Please come and take it to him. So the Pujari was amazed that Krishna had come in his dream. So he took his bath and he went, and indeed, behind the curtain, behind the dress of Gopinath, he found a pot of kheer. This Gopinath is very, very old, and the deity has a big stone background. So when they dress him, they stretch the cloth in front. So it was very easy for Gopinath to hide one pot behind the dress, behind the curtain of cloth. So the Pujari took the pot of kheer and he went into the market and he began to call, Madhavendra Puri, Madhavendra Puri, where are you, where are you? Krishna has blessed you, he has given you this kheer. And Madhavendra became so happy to receive the kheer, and of course the word spread throughout the village that Gopinath has stolen a pot of kheer for his devotee. So from that day, Gopinath became Kheer Chor Gopinath. Chor means thief, and kheer is sweet rice. Kheer Chor Gopinath. The Gopinath who stole the kheer. Kheer Chor Gopinath. So Madhavendra Puri accepted the prasad, and then he thought, and then many people started coming to him because they wanted his blessing, they wanted his ashrbad, since he had been blessed by Krishna. So he wasn't very much attracted to that name and fame and so on. So he immediately left the village. But the word spread. By the time he arrived in Jagannath Puri, everybody knew the story of Kheer Chor Gopinath. So Madhavendra Puri became famous. So the king gave him audience, and when he requested the king for sandalwood to take to Vrindavan, the king gave it to him with a certificate, so you could go through the different border posts, and with 2 servants, and he left Puri to go to Vrindavan to bring the sandalwood for his Gopal deity. When he came back to Remuna, where Kheer Chor Gopinath is, on the way, he stopped there, and in that evening, Gopal came in his dream and said, I'm very happy with your service. You have walked so many thousands of miles without any facility, without any money, without any support, and you have brought this sandalwood and camphor. You don't have to bring it all the way to Vrindavan. I am none different from Gopinath. So you put the sandalwood on Gopinath, and that will satisfy me. So that way, Madhavendra Puri, he fulfilled the desire of Gopal. Now, this Gopal was very, very merciful to Madhavendra Puri. And through his mercy, he is teaching us that when Krishna gives us an order, we can accept that order on our head. Automatically, with Krishna's order, the facilities to execute the orders come also with it. And once a devotee has the order of Krishna, once you have this connection with Krishna, then nothing becomes important. Because our main identity, our main reality is to be eternally locked into a loving relationship with Krishna. Sometimes people, they say, if Krishna is so merciful, and if I'm an eternal servant of Krishna, how did I come into the material world? How am I so stubborn to be separate from Krishna? Because if you look around you, 99.9% of humanity are not Krishna consciousness. Krishna says, Saharshanam Manushyanam Sahasreshu Kaschid Yatati Siddhaye. So, Manushyanam, among the people, among the Manusha. Manusha means descendants of Manu, human beings. Manushyanam Sahasreshu, thousands and thousands. Kaschid, one, hardly one, Yatata Siddhaye, becomes perfect, becomes a Siddha. Yatatam api Siddhanam, and out of all the Siddhas, Siddhanam, Kaschin mam veti tattataha. Hardly one knows me in truth. So the question can be raised, why is it that out of thousands and thousands of perfected beings who understand that they are not the body, They understand their spirit. They understand that the material world is a temporary, miserable place. They understand they're going through the cycle of birth and death. Why is it that we so stubbornly reject loving service to Krishna? What is the condition? What is the reason? One of the reasons is that we are made in Krishna's image. Whatever quality Krishna has, we have those qualities also in a minute form, but potentially as powerful. So Krishna, his will cannot be thwarted. Whatever he wants, he can do. Nobody can cross Krishna. Nobody can. If he makes up his mind, nobody can change it. And because we are his part and parcel, we have that tendency also. We can be very, very stubborn. I have seen that sometimes a child, he will throw a tantrum, and no matter what the parents do, he will not stop crying, he will not stop rolling on the ground. So in the same way, we are so stubborn, but we get that stubbornness from Krishna. And the whole idea, the whole design of the material world is to break down the stubbornness. Because parallel or mirroring the stubbornness is the affection for Krishna. Just as we can be so stubborn against Krishna, we can be so much overwhelmed in love of Krishna. And when you come to that point, then nothing matters anymore. Here it says, Moha Kalilam, the illusion, the dense forest of illusion in which we live, once we come out of it, once we understand the nature of the upside down tree, once we understand the purpose of the Vedic hymns, then we become disinterested in anything material, because we have achieved our goal of connected with Krishna. Therefore, any subject matter, no matter what it is simply uninteresting. It is not as important as our relationship with Krishna. Therefore, here Madhavendra Puri prays that, my dear Krishna, when I bathe, I think of you. I don't feel like offering respects to my forefathers. Everything that is important in the material world is not important for me. I am not so keen to follow the rules and regulations of the Vedas, which are meant to gradually elevate me. I'm already elevated by understanding my relationship with you. Simply by remembering you, I can fulfill all the purpose of the Vedas. And therefore, nothing material has any interest for me. So, how to come to this point? We may say, well, Madhavendra Puri, he came to this point of love of Godhead because he comes from the spiritual world. He's an empowered incarnation of the Kalpavriksha, of the desire trees. He's a perfect being. He was perfect before he came, and he continues to be perfect. But I'm not perfect. You're not perfect. We are struggling to become aware of our illusion. We are struggling to break the bondage of material life. So what is our situation? Well, our situation is the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Gorangera Duti Pada Jar Dhana Sampada Se Jane Bhakati Rasa Sar. Narottam says, those who take the lotus feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as the treasure in their life, they understand the purpose of bhakti. Because Lord Chaitanya came especially to teach us, not to teach us, especially to give us, to donate to us love of God. Qualified or unqualified, Krishna himself can give love of himself to anyone he wishes. Normally, you have to go through the process of Vedic knowledge. You have to become free from illusion. You have to become on the spiritual platform. And then you may have an opportunity to serve Krishna. But because we are living in very difficult times, where no one is Krishna conscious, no one understands Krishna, no one is perfect, no one is liberated, therefore Krishna is giving a discount, he's giving an amnesty. Just like where I was born in Italy, when there is a new government, then sometimes they give an amnesty for the prisoners, especially the prisoners who are not so heavily punished. They let them out of the prison as a sign of amnesty. Or a king, he can do that also. When he becomes enthroned as a king, he gives a special dispensation to the less fortunate people in prison. So in the same way, we are all imprisoned in the modes of material nature, in the forest. We are all lost in the forest of Kali Yuga. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come to set us free. Kalan nashtam bhakti yogam nijam ya pradus kartum Krishna Chaitanya nama avirbhuta tasya padaravinde gadam gadam liyatam chitta bringa. This was a verse composed by Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, who was one of the associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Jagannath Puri. He was the king pandit, or he was the philosopher, especially appointed by the king. He said to be an empowered incarnation of Brihaspati, who is the guru of the demigods. He had unlimited knowledge, but Lord Chaitanya, he was not able to understand Lord Chaitanya's position. And during a discussion, when Lord Chaitanya gave him his mercy, he became free, he understood the purpose of knowledge, and he quoted this verse. So, this is the story. Thank you very much. Here we see that Adma Vidya has joined us. Good evening. And Anna Maria Monchada, Hare Krishna. Mandy Prior, Hare Krishna. Adma Vidya says, these are the stories we love to listen to. Madhavendra Puri. Transcendental, instructive, and uplifting. Entertaining too, but totally in a transcendental way. And so much background information. Yes, we need to hear these stories. We need to connect to Srila Prabhupada. We need to connect. This story of Madhavendra Puri is in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, which Prabhupada translated and commented. I didn't invent it. It's there. All knowledge is there. If we take advantage of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we automatically get the advantage of the disciplic succession back to Madhavendra Puri. From Prabhupada to his guru Bhaktisiddhanta, Gaur-Kishore Das, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Jagannath Das Babaji, Narottam, Srinivas, Vishwanath, Krishnadas Kaviraj, Vrindavan Das Thakur, Lord Advaita, Lord Nityananda, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Anya. Lord Krishna and Radharani are nothing but Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he is able to give us this benediction. Namo Mahavadanaya Krishna Prema Pradayate. Pradaya is giving what? Krishna Prema. Therefore, Vadanyaya, we offer our respects unto him. Knowledge is there. If we take advantage of Lord Chaitanya's mercy, we can break free from the stubborn, childish, pig-headed attitude of not wanting to serve God. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.